Okay, so we're back. This is JJ Wilson here. Welcome to the channel. Gonna pick up where I left off on the GANGSTA manga. The main story. It's this time we're talking about chapter 37. Moving along, I've done 2 chapters already for volume 7. This is a new volume that's out for the manga series GANGSTA by Kosuke. So can try to pick up that volume. My previous videos I talk about where you can purchase it and everything, so be sure to check it out when you get a chance, because this is going to be some spoilers here with this chapter, and this is a very revealing chapter here to begin, especially between Daniel Monroe and another head of the Twilight Protector group. So you want to keep it locked here to find out what that's all about. So here we go. So in the beginning of chapter 37, we just have like a short panel of the 3rd Destroyers group, the new additions to that Destroyers team. Sig, the blonde teenage girl with the eye patch over eye, and we have the younger 13-year-old Colt, 13-year-old Colt, who is also a new addition of the group. So Sig just got her legs repaired, because in chapter 35 they were cut by Connie. Although she was still able to walk on her own power, she finally got them wrapped up and went to a doctor, I guess. And they just got through killing some more Twilights, you know, just for the heck of it, because that's what they do best. They kill Twilights. And I'm guessing on the next page, Colt is, I'm not guessing actually, just off the top of my head, Colt is looking at some dead bodies of what appears to be anti-Twilights. They're normals, they're normal people, but they actually have a hatred against Twilight. So I'm thinking he's looking at those bodies so he can detect something happen to them. So, and later on in this chapter, you're going to see who he's going to end up facing. So moving along, we got a riot. Yes, there's a riot going on at the police department between the normals and the police. And the normals are getting fed up with what's going on, hearing about the Destroyers coming back in the city and messing up, they're disturbing the peace. They're tearing things up, and they're advocating for change. You know, they want the government to stop the supply of the drug Celeber. They want that to end, because they feel like if they do that, then that will finally get rid of the Twilights once and for all. So that's why they're having a riot right now. And so we got cops inside the building. Some of those guys are like, man, look at these fools out here protesting and all that. They don't know what the hell they talking about. You know what would happen if we stopped that drug? We stopped Celeber from distributing it to the city of Vergasculum. You know what's going to happen? First off, we're going to have sanctions from other countries, so we're going to lose money. Number 2, it'd be a lot of political instability, you know, I guess between politicians and whatnot, those that support Twilights and those that don't. And not to mention, we're going to get sued by Twilights. Twilights with some money, man, they're going to sue the crap out of us. They're going to sue us like crazy. So yeah, there's all kind of reasons as to why that ain't going to happen. They might as well just go back home and shut up. And so we got what you can see is Cody, who is what's the cop's name? Police chief, Inspector Atkins. That's his subordinate. That's like his assistant or whatever. So he's looking on. He's hearing these guys talk all this mess about what's going on outside with the riot. And then he's looking back at his boss and he's like, hey, you need to stop smoking. This is a non-smoking office. So that's what's going on there. I think they're just doing more paperwork about the recent deaths involving the Twilights by the Destroyers. And so we go back out there into the streets with the riot, and we have a very interesting person here. And thankfully, I'm glad the author pointed this out as to who this was, because I would have not known who this guy was. I mean, he even had a dog tag, which I would assume he was a Twilight, but I don't think he is a Twilight here. So basically, he's a bald preacher dude. And so he's telling the crowd, hey, you need to stop talking down on Twilights. You know, their bodies are sacred, they're pure. You know, they were here to cleanse us. So in a sense, it seems like he's a normal person, but he wants to be a Twilight, and he looks up to the Twilight race. And so it's gotten to the point where now they form like a cult, you know. And later, one of the normals explains, one of the regulars in town, he explains what they are. These people are called the Twilight Preservation Society. So basically, they're kind of like they're like a Twilight's rights group. You know, kind of like how you have in real life civil rights activists and things like that, from all these different, you know, little subsections and whatever. In various countries, they talk about, you know, human rights violations. That's kind of what this society is, the Twilight Preservation Society. They kind of do similar stuff. So that's what they do. And so he's asking everybody just to stop talking ill about Twilights. You know, we must help them. You know, things like that. And also he's asking for everyone in the city of Augusta to stop the hunters. So he knows that the hunters are bad people. So yeah, that's what's going on there. And so now we get another scene of some Twilights. They're running off and they're trying to get away from the anti-Twilight faction. And yeah, the anti-Twilight faction, they're taking advantage of the instability of the city, and they're just trying to kill any Twilight they see, from my understanding. And so this is the moment of truth in this chapter right here, guys. For anybody that read volume 6 and you saw what happened with Daniel Monroe, you know, turning his back against his own members of his family, turning it back against Yang and Delico. And then we see, you know, on the flip side, we got the Destroyers, and they're being funded and backed by another head of the Twilight Protector group, Uranos Corsica, of the Corsica family. So we got Corsica and Daniel Monroe, they're in a room together. So yes, that's right. If you haven't suspected already, Daniel Monroe and Uranos Corsica, they're like in a mutual alliance. So that means that, yeah, that means they share a deep hatred against Twilight. So I'm about to point out some things as to how that is. So I actually pull out the book for this. So yeah, Corsica, he's basically telling Daniel Monroe, so are you trying to start the recent events that happened 15 years ago? Now, 15 years ago, if anybody read GANGSTA Curse, this is where, you know, Marco Adriano, as a teenager who went by a different name as spies, him and Stryker and Beretta and 2 other members of the Destroyer group at that time, they were the first people to go down there and cause havoc on Augusta, from my understanding. And so Daniel Monroe is sitting on his chair, and he's telling Corsica that, yeah, you know, this was your idea to bring the Destroyers into the city. It wasn't my idea to recreate the events of 15 years ago. I mean, as far as you getting these Destroyers guys back into town, I mean, that was all you're doing, man. And then, you know, Corsica has a rebuttal for him, like, well, so Monroe, why are you going out of your way to try to kill all Twilights, since all this time you've been helping them out and protecting them? So I mean, damn, don't you feel sad about what you're doing right now? Don't you feel any kind of remorse, man? You got any nice feelings left in you about Twilights? So yeah, these 2 pages right here on chapter 37, it's confirmed. Yeah, Daniel Monroe and Uranos Corsica are in it together as far as eliminating Twilights. And now we go back to the clinic with Dr. Theo. And Dr. Theo, even though he's still working, he has his doctor's office closed. So we got some old ladies that are trying to get in there and they can't get in because they see the sign that's closed off. And so now Dr. Theo reveals that, yes, this whole time he's been giving Daniel Monroe Celeber. So this confirms that Daniel Monroe is a superhuman normal. I don't know if I pointed this out in my last video on chapter 36, but yeah, a superhuman normal is basically, a superhuman normal has the same abilities as a Twilight, except they don't have the side effects of a Twilight. Twilights, they have side effects if they don't take that drug on a regular basis. Like they'll have hallucinations, their bodies will get weaker over time, and they'll have seizures. So they'll have a lot of bad complications, and then eventually they die if they don't take this drug on a regular basis. So, but with superhuman normals, they don't have to worry about that at all. All they gotta do is just take the drug in order to keep their abilities, really, to keep their enhanced physical abilities. So yeah, Dr. Theo's like, yeah, I've been giving Daniel Monroe Celeber all this time. You know, I had to hide it really good. I had to put it in cough drop bottles and stuff, so that way I could continue to give him his daily dosage of Celeber. And so I have to apologize to you, Warwick, and also Daniel Monroe's men, who they probably didn't even know about it. They didn't know about it, actually. Diego and Miles. And he also pointed out, Dr. Theo, that Marco Adriano also uses celibate too. So yeah, I knew that before, but yeah, he also confirms that in this chapter. And so we go back into the estate, Corsica's estate, with Monroe and Corsica. And Daniel Monroe explains as to how he got into this whole thing in the first place. So he was saying, no, it wasn't my choice to go to a Gaslam. My grandfather was sent to prison. When he got arrested and he was in prison, they took him to a Gaslam. So a Gaslam is basically like a, I ain't gonna say it's lawless, but it's kind of like a city of rejects. So if you committed a crime, that they take you to a Gaslam to, I guess, where you're kind of put under a sort of boundary in a sense. Like this, the whole entire city is a boundary, and you have to stay there. So that's where his father ended up going, and over time, I guess they established the Monroe family, and that's how Daniel came up into it. That's how he got into the whole Twilight business. And so, and Daniel Monroe points out that yeah, it was never my intention to be this father figure and this protector for all Twilights and things of that nature. But this whole time, ever since I've been here, my whole entire life was to slowly but surely try to weaken the Twilights and destroy them, destroy all of them. So you'll find out that, you know, all this time I can't stand Twilights, man. I hate them. I hate their guts. And I'm sick and tired of this place. I want to leave. And so the plan for Daniel Monroe was to kill off as many Twilights as he could and make a body count so he could make a tally towards the government to, I guess, to pay off. I don't know if it's a ransom that he owes. And I'm assuming he does owe a rent, like a debt. Maybe because his grandfather in the past must have did something really bad to get sent to a Gaslam, and now even his children have to pay the price. So Daniel Monroe, being the grandson of this guy, he's having to, his way of getting out of the city is to have to make a body count for all these Twilights, and that's gonna pay his way back out of Gaslam. So I'm thinking that's what's going on here. And Daniel Monroe is pointing out the course of that, yeah, I've gotten so good at it, man. I'm making more money out killing Twilights rather than helping them. So yeah, I mean, this is what I want to. This is my plan. This is what I'm gonna do. And of course, yeah, I agree with you there, man. They're all fools. They ain't shit. They can't wipe their own asses. So yeah, it looks like you and I, we agree at least something. And interestingly enough, Corsica, he's holding a picture. It looks like it might be his family. I'm assuming that's his wife and daughter, and I guess tragically they were killed by Twilight, so that's probably why he hates Twilight, because they took away his family. So Monroe, on Monroe's side, he's trying to get out of the city because he sees that Twilights are just a nuisance, and they're dangerous to human society, and he's just trying to get the hell up out of the city. Corsica, on the flip side, I think he wants to stay there, but he hates Twilight just for the simple fact that they took away, you know, his loved ones and shit. So this is why they're working together. And now we go back to the doctor's office, and Warwick, man, Warwick is so damn smart, dude. Like he already knew, he was connecting dots so well here. And so Miles is asking, hey Warwick, how long have you known this? It's like, man, I knew this all along. Like I detected the whole time that Daniel Monroe is a superhuman normal. And that, you know, all this time he was taking celibate, and we weren't his soldiers, we weren't his men and shit. Over time, we were just his props, we were just tools, you know. And this is where Delico comes in. He doesn't actually come in there into the doctor's office, but he's upstairs. He's kind of listening to what's going on. So he finally hears what's really been going on with Daniel Monroe. And Miles is pretty pissed off, like, cause he's like the right hand man to Daniel Monroe, and he's pretty upset about what he just heard from Ward. It's like, well, damn, did I even know Daniel Monroe all this time? I mean, he asked me to protect the compound, meaning his estate. And so, you know, he told me that when Daniel Monroe, he was gonna leave, that he was gonna settle things, cause he said it was important. Warwick is like hell he is. And Warwick is mad as hell. He's like hell he is. And so now we go back out into the streets where we see a Twilight family, and they're about to get killed by these anti-Twilight factions. So the husband of that family, he's actually a normal. He's saying, don't hurt me. I'm a normal, and don't hurt my family either. You know, they're not strong. They're just D-level ranks. You know, and you could tell, like, even with all the crap that's going on in the Gaslam, you still have families of mixed families here with Twilights and normals, and they're trying to live normal lives and stuff. But you know, when you got a section of the city that's prejudiced against one group, you know, there's constant confrontations and stuff. So thankfully, not spies, but Marco Adriano, he comes in, he kills all these guys off with his weapons, his string weapons coming off his hands that he uses. Man, it was dope. I'm glad he saved that family. And so he's looking out, he's trying to find anybody else that he can save, I guess, on his way to Stryker. And next thing you know, we see Colt. Colt, from the beginning of the chapter, he detects Marco. And so he's about to get at Marco. He's about to sideline punch him. Cut him off with his knives. But he gets punched. Marco gets saved. And guess who it is? It's Galahad. And Marco's wondering, like, why are you here, man? I thought I told you that I'm gonna do this myself. I didn't need your help. And Galahad's like, on behalf of the Cristiano family, it's my job to protect you. And so I think Loretta, I guess she sent Galahad, or maybe Galahad just went on his own will, on his own accord, to go over there and help out Marco, because he pretty much what Marco is going to do is going to be very hard. You know, just him by himself trying to fight out the destroyers here, because the destroyers are really, really high skilled assassins. So what Marco is doing is pretty noble, but it's also a little bit crazy. So yeah, he does need help, and I'm glad Galahad came over there to help him out. Galahad's a A rank Twilight, so he's up there in strength. A rank class 0 to might I add you. And so yeah, that's gonna be the end of the chapter right there. So Galahad is about to fight Colt. I'm explaining that in the next chapter, chapter 38. That's gonna be dope. I definitely can't wait to show you that chapter, because this is where that's gonna be where Marco finally fights Stryker, or he's about to face him anyway. So keep it locked here. I'm not going anywhere. Subscribe if you want to hear more about the series, and check out some of my older videos on the series, as well as Gangsta Curse. And I'll see you all later.